Hey there, welcome to Accelebration, everyone. Good to be with you. I'm Steve Farrell, the co-founder and executive director of Humanities Team. And as you can see, I've got this beautiful friend on the screen, and this is Suzanne Giesemann. I'm going to formally introduce her in just a moment here. I'm real excited about this program with Suzanne. Thank you for joining us, everybody. So a couple of things. One, we're coming to you live. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, coming to you live from our Humanities Team studio here. And Suzanne is coming to you from Hilton Head, South Carolina, from her home live. So we're going to watch some video clips, get into some great conversation. People are going to be coming in live to talk with us. Just got a beautiful hour in store for you. Now, so a couple of things here. First, let me just shout out to the Humanities Stream members that are with us, the Humanities Team members with us, Suzanne Giesemann's friends on her Facebook pages that we're broadcasting to, and our friends with the Sign Network. We're broadcasting out to the pages that they're connected with. So thank you, all of you, for joining us. Now, as we do every week, I can see here on a screen in the studio your questions and comments. So throw questions and comments at us, and Suzanne and I will get to as many as we can. Now, the theme for today's program is connecting across the veil. And if you know Suzanne and her work, you understand why that would be our theme. She's just an incredible medium and leader in this whole area of consciousness. So we're very excited to have her back on the program. Let me formally introduce her. Suzanne Giesemann, and it's pronounced Giesemann, is a highly sought after and respected medium who has written 13 books on spirituality and connecting with those whose souls have passed to the other side. She is also an incredible teacher of the art of mediumship and divine connection. 4 of her courses are available on Humanities Stream Plus, including Making the Connection and Your Emerging Soul, which we will be discussing in more detail today. Suzanne is an evidential psychic medium who brings peace to loved ones and shows us that our reality is not as simple as it appears on the surface. Her 2 courses that we will be previewing today are Making the Connection, which is an introductory class to mediumship, and Your Emerging Soul, which explores the nature of higher consciousness in ways that will enrich your life. So welcome again to the program, Suzanne. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Steve, and welcome everybody. I just get excited anytime I get to sit and spend a whole hour talking about unified consciousness, all of these topics that we're both so excited about.
That we are, yeah, it's wonderful. You're doing so many good things actually all over the world and travel this country with your husband. And so here we catch you in your home in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So very nice. Maybe we'll even see one of your pets barking in the background here during the hour.
You might very well hear them.
Okay, well, so let's start, Suzanne. We were chatting just before we came onto the program about this whole aspect that, of course, you were a leader in the military, in the armed forces, and you were a very senior military officer. And then through a whole bunch of things that happened in your life, you ended up leaving and pivoting to this leadership work that you're doing now as a medium and much more. And we said we'd talk about it because there's so many people that we talk to in Humanities Team who share they have the job, they feel that job which is in the unconscious world is necessary, and this whole pivot is concerning. So yeah, if you want to just talk a little bit about how you made that pivot, it'd be wonderful. It'd be a great place to start.
I like that you use the word pivot, Steve, because it really is like a 180-degree turn, the work that I'm doing now compared to in the military. And yet I didn't leave it completely behind, because I'm laughing. Ty and I went for a walk this morning, and we always walk in step. And when one of us is not in step with the other, we do this little shift, pivot, so that we are completely in step. I remember doing something this morning and saluting. So we joke and we call each other sir and ma'am. It's still part of our lives. And yet I so embrace this new part of our lives together. When I first discovered that I could connect with the greater reality and began working as a medium, the documentary about my transition called Messages of Hope, that's on Amazon Prime and YouTube, came out, and the initial version showed photos of me in my prior job with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I was his aide, the head of the US military. When I asked him, is it okay if we use these images? He asked us to take them out. He was not comfortable being seen in any film that had to do with mediumship. And he made some comments that showed his, and I use this in the nicest term, his ignorance of the greater reality. And it was the first time that I truly stood up for what I know to be true, that the greater reality is here, that we are part of it, and that when we merge with it in awareness, our lives change. This is what all of my teaching is about now. And many people were very intimidated by this general. He is an intimidating figure. And this was the first time when I absolutely stood my ground and said, sir, I understand and respect where you are, but this is reality, and I will take you out of the video. But to disparage this work is coming from a place that shows you really don't know what you're talking about. And I intend to fully dive into this work. And he actually came back and apologized. So it was a David and Goliath moment for me. And it only happened because it wasn't Suzanne Giesemann defending herself. And this is key for everybody listening. It was the soul within this person playing the role of Suzanne Giesemann saying, now you know who you are, the soul. And once that light starts to shine, it's something you can't not do. So anybody who truly starts to taste the essence of who they are can't deny it any longer. And then it's just a matter of standing in your truth from a place of love and working that, integrating that into everything that you do.
Yes, agreed. And then there's so much prosperity when we do that, when we just come into this flow of life with, and the afterlife, of course, is a part of it. We're all one, you know. So this afterlife, this embodied life, that we're all in this current moment of now. So it's as simple and as complex as that. But where we drop down into that place and live into this place of connection, and of course, love is its basis. Then prosperity in so many different forms surface. And my own story, I think is similar, where I was a technology executive in Silicon Valley and operating with venture capital leaders and business leaders and things. It had some similarity in that when that moment came where I needed to leave and just talk honestly about this whole, that we're one, that there's no such thing as separation, that we're actually emanations of the divine. What allowed me to stay connected with them was just that they loved me and trusted me. It was that personal connection, but the whole new reality that I was feeling into is, of course, is very foreign to many people. It was for them.
Right. Sorry I interrupted you, but that connection is love. Love is not an emotion. It is the connection. And
right.
We are all connected. So we can't help but feel it when we tune into how we are not separate from each other. You reminded me of something I had forgotten, that when I first retired from the Navy, I actually was hired as a consultant for a strategic planning company and was doing workshops on the road about once a month. I really didn't like it that much, but the abundance was amazing. I just couldn't get passionate about it. And all of the mediumship work started to unfold, and I didn't see it as work, but I knew I had to dedicate myself to it. And I said to Ty, I don't want to do this other work anymore. I can't do it. My heart is not in it. And it was lucrative. And he looked a little bit askance, like, you're going to give that up? And I said, I need to. It's holding me back from diving fully into my spiritual work. And he, being this wonderful husband, just said, okay, do it. And that was the right move. And again, you use the word prosperity, and I didn't do it for the money's sake. I did it because my heart said, this is what you need to do. And that was the best decision I could have ever made, because then you attract to yourself opportunities that you can't see if you're focused on limitation.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I could tell a similar story, but I'm not going to, just in the interest of time. But let me go to something. Another thing that I love, Suzanne, about your work is you share of kind of the before moment where this whole mediumship thing was Greek, where there wasn't an awareness of how this worked. And now, of course, including on these programs that you have on the Humanity Stream platform, you're teaching people how to become a medium. So you went from just where most people would stand today, it just have no recognition of this communication with the afterlife, to being really quite an experienced and thoughtful teacher. So do you want to just say a few words about that? Because I think you could give people a lot of hope here as well.
That is a major point, that many mediums who I know today are those who have seen spirits their whole life. They come from families with a lineage of being mediums, and there's not a single person I know in my family who had any of these abilities. I've heard from several born mediums, as we call them, who say it's genetic. And I have asked my ancestors in the spirit world. I know my own family, and nobody acknowledged this ability. So I can speak from personal experience that even if you haven't had it until your middle years, and you don't know anybody else in your family that had it, it can be developed. Whether or not it's your calling, that depends on if you'll dive in and fully develop it, as I have. I couldn't not do this work, but I know that we all have the ability to make the connection with loved ones who have passed, our own and others, and our guides and the masters, because we are all souls. You don't have to wait till you pass to communicate as a soul with other souls. That's the greatest news of all.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and you do wonderful work here, just training people all over the world to communicate with their ancestors and with the afterlife. So we're going to go now to a video. We've got a couple that we're going to show here during the hour. The first one is called Your Emerging Soul. It's 2.5 minutes. And let me just share, again, there are 4 programs that Suzanne Giesemann has on the Humanity Stream platform. And if you go to humanitiesteam.org/stream, you'll see this. It's a revolutionary graphical intuitive interface, and then it's streaming out to not only computers, but your Apple TV and your Amazon Fire and Roku and Google Play, et cetera, et cetera. So there's nothing actually like it in the industry. It's the only true streaming platform for conscious transformational education programs and master classes that's available. And Suzanne has 4 beautiful programs. I was sharing with her this one that we're going to go to now. I was actually watching this one with my wife last night on our Roku in our master bedroom. So let's go take a look, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit about it. It's called Your Emerging Soul, and this is a 2.5 minute clip.
There's a paradox here when it comes to understanding the greater reality. And that is, you can't experience the greater reality with the side of you that's human, the brain and your whole operating system that uses the senses to sense reality. You just can't do it. So you have to accept that there's a part of you that is not physical. You see? You have to get outside of the box just to experience that greater reality. And that can be challenging. So the key is to acknowledge that your intellect, your mind, can only take you so far. And then you have to get outside of this mentality that it's either human or spirit. I'm going to really hammer this point home this weekend, that we are both human and spirit at the same time. And that makes all the difference, realizing that we're not just here in human form and then we die and we go to the spirit world. We are souls here and now, which is how the soul often leaves us signs that it knows it's going to pass. The two worlds may seem very different, but they're actually all of one great whole, the formless and the formed, the eternal and the temporary. Your human side is the temporary side. The spirit side is eternal, with you before you came here and long after you leave here, eternal. But the thing is, they make up one great big reality that you are a part of now. So I have this little model that I developed that shows the physical world down at the bottom, where we have plants, rocks, animals, and then we move up the scale of consciousness to the human level. We're all familiar with interacting on that level. I've already shared stories with you of interacting with the spirit world, with those who've passed to the other side, and then your guides would be a little higher up. And I'm going to share with you examples tonight of interacting with the masters at the highest levels. But really, the biggest message here is that it's all just one mind.
Yes, it is. We are all one. Beautiful. Yeah, so nice. And those nice charts there and things, just getting into this whole spirit world and human world and paradox and things. Do you want to say a word of this? This is really a beautiful program. As I mentioned, I was watching it last night. Do you want to say a little bit more about it here, Suzanne?
I love this program. As you can see, it was filmed from a live workshop that I led, and you'll pick up the energy of the students taking the class then. But this is the message, that we see this world as the physical world, and maybe there's a non-physical world, but that is from the limited human point of view. When we can shift outside that view, we realize there's only one world. We call it physical because we use our physical senses, but it's all actually unfolding in consciousness. The more we come to know that, that whole first module of the course is called Getting Out of the Box. And you realize you can shift out of the box at any time. The whole view changes and life becomes absolutely miraculous.
Yes, it does. Yeah, Conversations with God. And of course, Neil Donald Walsh was one of the co-founders of Humanity's Team. And there's this 9 series of books, and viewers probably have some familiarity with this series. And it says that our invitation in life is to announce and declare, express and fulfill, become and experience who we really are, which is love. So in a sense, when we kind of step back and look at that, it's almost like when we grow up here in the United States and many parts of the world, our ladder is kind of leaning against the wrong wall, because what we're doing is we're climbing that ladder. It's very much about the old American dream of materiality and power over and fame and all of these things. But what we realize is we never quite quench that thirst. We never get there. You just kind of keep climbing and climbing and climbing, and those worry leaves never drop off. Whereas if we move that ladder over against this other wall where we understand who we really are, and then just make this pivot that Suzanne just talked about, her pivot. I actually made a similar pivot. And then just really live as who we really are, live in that place of flow, of connection, of love, and of service. Wow, then it all comes together. And we're not just out there on a desert chasing a mirage. It's like right here, right now, always. Wouldn't you say, Suzanne?
I would, and you made me laugh there a minute ago when you said living in the United States. And I know that we have viewers right now who are from all over the world. That's the beauty of the internet. A lot of people who follow my work come from many, many countries, but there is the final module, the final third of this Your Emerging Soul course is called Living in the USA, but it's a play on the letters USA, because what it really stands for is living in the United States of awareness, because that's all we have is a state of awareness. So are you going to live in the state of awareness of being only human? Or are you going to live in the awareness of I am a soul? Or how about the United States of awareness of being human and awareness of being a soul? When you can live from that combined awareness, then you've truly reclaimed your power as a soul in human form. And that's not the human ego's kind of power. This is the power to make love and unity and peace a part of every moment. And that's why I can barely contain myself, if you can feel it right now, because I'm so excited about more and more people coming to know this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the true invitation in life. You know, and unfortunately, most of us didn't grow up with this awareness. But now, because there are conscious teachers and leaders all over the world that are sharing this similar message, it's our time to awaken. And so, you know, it's happening. And we were talking even before the program, we're like well down this path and headed straight into it. And I don't think there's any stopping it now. So, and that's what we're here to talk about during the hour. It's just all of the beauty of it and some really phenomenal teachings that Suzanne has. We're going to now go and look at another program. So there are these two new programs on the Humanity Stream platform. We just looked at one, Your Emerging Soul, which is fantastic. I was watching it last night. There's this other one called Making the Connection. And we're going to go look at a 3-minute section from that program right now.
So the two worlds do interact and intermingle, interpenetrate each other. My guide Sanaya showed me, they said, get one of those fiber optic lights. Remember those from the 70s? And I have one in my room where I do readings now. And they said that pick a color, like, okay, blue. So the human level would be all the blue lights. And then red, arbitrary color, would be those who've passed to the spirit world. And then yellow would be the next level up, spirit guides. Then green would be like the masters. All interpenetrating, one big web, but different vibrational levels. And we just raise and lower our levels to communicate with them. And then they did something really cool. They said, now, picture that light, turn it upside down, and you can see that all flow from the same source, right? So the people that we connect with in the spirit world, I call them people because they're still people. They still grow, they still learn, they still love, they still have personality traits, and they're right here. They know about this class. Oftentimes in a reading, they'll know the reading's coming long before it's even scheduled. And I'll be doing readings and I'll say, this is a setup from the spirit world, this one, you know. So let's see how much you learned this morning already, if you're paying attention. What is the highest vibration? Love. Excellent. No, yeah, let me get, I'll go home. All right, good. So, how I came to know that, I mean, not just know it, but know it. I mentioned it earlier, is through sitting silently every day after Susan died. And I'm telling you, the first 3 weeks, I fell asleep every time. And I'd wake up and I'd say, this is a waste of time. And it sounded so strange at the time to say to my husband, I'm going to go meditate now, because we just didn't do that. That was 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. But over a couple of months, I started to notice that I was knowing things about other people. My intuition came back online from sitting in the silence. This meditation thing was starting to have payoff that I didn't realize would happen. My goal was just to get to know, if Susan is still here, I want to connect with you. And that didn't happen for a couple of years, but it happened. And now she drops in from time to time.
Okay, beautiful. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Now, let me just share that we do have comments coming in. So thank you. We've got Judith on Facebook and Jay on Facebook that have brought in comments. We're going to get to those, so stay tuned here. We're just going to talk a little more, and then we're going to get to comments and questions here as well. So feel free to just throw any at us. There's a screen here, and I can see them. We'll get to as many as we can during the hour. So now, that was a nice discussion here. You know, a phenomenal program. This other program that we were looking at is called Making the Connection. And I want to just invite people, so if you haven't gone to the Humanity Stream platform, I want to invite you to do it. Again, if you go to humanitiesteam.org/stream, you'll see it's a revolutionary streaming platform just for conscious media. It's transformational education programs, masterclasses that we create in Humanities Team. There are hundreds of programs on the platform that are Suzanne Giesemann's that are excellent, which is why we have Suzanne here today. She's coming back here to spend more quality time with us because her programs are really outstanding, and she just, in such a simple and thoughtful way and unscripted, just takes you through kind of how to connect with the spirit world and what this spirit world is and how we can give practical application to these things in our everyday life. They're fantastic. So be sure to go to the platform, check it out. Again, it's the only streaming platform in this whole conscious transformational education space. And make sure to go look at these 4 programs from Suzanne. There's a 14-day unconditional guarantee on the platform. It's a little more than $1 a day. It's $4.97 a year. And it's phenomenal. A lot of people are going through our Forbidden Science program right now, which the Greg Braden and Nassim Harriman teach this one. Nassim's new unified field theory is highlighted in this Forbidden Science program. It really gets down into, when we talk about, Suzanne and I are talking about that everything is entangled or connected, that everything is actually one. Well, guess what? Nassim Harriman and Greg Braden's science takes you into, how is this so? How are we one? The quantum physics, where we're actually looking at from the smallest quantum particles to the largest cosmological objects and everything in between, physical and non-physical objects. How and why we're proving that it is so. Of course, Albert Einstein in his lifetime was working on a unified field theory. He never quite could get there, and of course he passed many years ago. Nassim Harriman, with his team of scientists and experts in mathematics, take us over that finish line. They're actually doing their formal announcement, I think, in February of this coming year. A unified field theory, just absolutely phenomenal. So this platform has everything from the science, like of unified field theory and science of self-empowerment, to incredible programs like Suzanne's and many others, Neil Donald Walsh and Michael Beckwith, Barbara Marx Hubbard's programs. You can see on the screen Deborah Poneman, Christy Whitman, Thomas Hubel, Joan Borisenko. I won't kind of cover any more of the names. You'll see these are amazing leaders, and they've all collaborated with us to bring their transformational education programs to the platform. So it's an economical thing where most master classes are around $350, $399 now. And so for $497 for a year, you're getting hundreds of these programs and lots of other things that we include, which is why we have the plus when we say Humanities Stream Plus. There's live mentoring. So this program we're doing now with Nassim Harriman and Greg Braden, Greg is just in the process of doing 2 live mentoring programs that you're invited to. And then Nassim will come in with his 2 live mentoring programs. And then there's a program with Michael Beckwith and Neil Donald Walsh that's just around the corner. They'll be coming in with their live programs. And we're here with a live program right now. So we're going to just in a moment go to where the stream members can come on camera, and actually Suzanne can see them. They can see Suzanne. So this is something that's offered every week too. So there's a lot of things that go with this streaming platform. It truly is revolutionary, and we're just grateful to be partnered with people like Suzanne Giesemann, who have created this content that make it so simple and easy to understand what being a medium is, and actually so much more. There are 4 programs here. Let me come back over to Suzanne. So this program that we were just looking at, let's talk a little bit about it, and then you've got 2 other programs on the site. Maybe you could say a word about those too, Suzanne.
Right, the one you just saw, Making the Connection, is my basic introduction to mediumship, and it's a beautiful way for those who may not even know they have this ability to learn the actual steps and processes that truly work. When I first learned that there are systems you can use repeatedly to connect with those across the veil, I was all in. That really attracted me, because I can't think of the right word. Something with my left brain. My left brain really appreciated that. And right now my left brain is offline, Steve. But a lot of
The spirit
practical
world will
tools
do
there.
that.
Yeah, they will.
Take
And
our left brain
exercise.
offline.
That's exactly right. I believe we also offer my Personal Mediumship Plus class on
We
your
do.
site.
Yeah,
And
I've been through most of that class. It's phenomenal, just phenomenal.
great. And what's the other one, Steve?
Yeah, and I'll get that name for you. I've actually taken or am through parts of 3 of them, and I just kind of jump around. By the way, let me just say something here as we're talking about this and jumping around. One of the things that Suzanne and I were talking about too, and I'll try not to stand too much on a soapbox here, but is, so all of us are familiar with our, I'll call it more unconscious life, where we've got news and, CBS and NBC and CNBC and MTV and Fox and then all of these different like movies and things, Chariots of Fire and etc. And you know what? If you go just spend a little bit of time with Suzanne's programs and these other programs too, but Suzanne's here with us now. She's created incredible programs. You spend a little time.
The fourth one, Steve, the fourth one is called Let Your Spirit Soar.
That's right. Let your spirit soar. Thank you. Yeah, spend a little time just going through these programs, and I promise you, you will make time every week to spend time with conscious media and to turn down and at some point actually probably even turn off like evening news and a lot of these movies with missiles and fires and people screaming and things. Because a lot of people are wondering why do they feel the worry that they do, the lack of meaning, the lack of purpose. Well, as we really engage with conscious media and we bring it into our own life and then take it out in the world, as Suzanne does, as we do in Humanities Team, and many of you that are viewers, I know are doing this too. And then all of this other stuff just falls like autumn leaves. We know this is why we're here. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is the definition of true prosperity. So just invite you, if you haven't created a diet of conscious media where there's some time allocated every week, just want to invite you to try it, because I know if you do, boy, you'll never go back. I mean, it's just so incredibly fulfilling. So Suzanne, let me come over to you.
In my Making the Connection course, I talk about what I call the 10 steps, the 10 keys to making the connection. And it's so important. One of the steps there is reading something uplifting every day, watching what you're feeding your soul. And that includes what you watch on the screen, whether it's a TV or the computer. We all take it as a given. You are what you eat. We know if we ingest too much sugar or too much alcohol or too many carbohydrates, we're not going to feel good. We're going to be just either jittery or slow and sluggish. The exact same thing goes for what we ingest from watching on the screen. That is absolutely energetically affecting your field. The few times I turn on the television, once in a while, I just need to veg, maybe once every couple months. If I watch anything at all disturbing, I will have nightmares. I'll wake up feeling out of sorts the next day. It's so noticeable, and it's so obvious where that comes from disturbances in the field. And I'm directly responsible for watching that. And there's no doubt that we humans love drama, but we have enough of that in our own lives without feeding it to ourselves willingly on the television. So I used to teach, Steve, political science at the U.S. Naval Academy. I understand politics. I understand the world and world events. I have a master's degree in national security affairs. So I see that very little changes from year to year. Same story over and over again. So it is important to keep up with the news. I check the headlines almost daily so that I can speak intelligently about what's going on in the world. but I know what that does to me. If I can make a difference with current events, I'll do so. But what we feed ourselves is absolutely important to our peace and what we send out to the world. So you can actually make a change in our world by what you radiate. And as long as we're ingesting fear and doom and gloom, nothing's going to change.
Yes, exactly. And I also stay on top of current events. It's important because when we talk about conscious living, it's bringing application to everything that's going on around us. So I don't tune out of what's going on out in the world at all. I'm very clear on what's happening, but I'm catching it from, I'll like go into Google News, and I'll scan that as opposed to a TV that's ambulance chasing something that really isn't taking me where I want. I'm not getting just the top level view that I'm after. It's more, they're trying to bring emotional connection to things that are happening that I don't need to be plugging into. So let me share, we do have, as I mentioned, some great comments and questions here. I want to be sure to get to them. Also, so if you're a Humanity Stream member, I want to invite you, if you want to come on camera, if you're in that VIP room and you want to come on camera, just put your hand up, let us know. And then Suzanne will be able to see you. We'll see you as well. Viewers will see you, but don't be shy. This is a blast. So just invite any of you that want to come on camera to do so. So one of the questions here is from Judith. And Judith says, love your work, seen so many signs with footage, evidence, but my family thinks I'm crazy. So this is kind of getting what we were talking, this pivot that we were talking about earlier, huh? Here, Suzanne.
Oh, yeah. I hear that a lot from people. So be selective what you share. Enjoy, stressing that word joy, what you know, what you're coming to know. Radiate your strength in standing for what you know. But it's not your path, Judith, to change their minds. They don't have to agree with you. And that phrase is so true. What others think about me is none of my business. When you can get to the point where it doesn't matter what others think of you, when you know you're not crazy, when what you're doing is healing and helpful for yourself and for others, then sooner or later, it won't matter what they say, and you won't try to change them. And they may actually come to respect that.
Yes, and just to add to that too, so where we're just, our invitation is this whole being state thing that Suzanne and I are talking about, and where we are in that being state and people don't understand it or think it's silly or whatever, that's not an issue or problem at all. That it's a projection. And actually for me, when I was in Silicon Valley and I used to experience this with people, and I understood, I would sit in meetings with many of them. I knew what was going on in their personal life with their spouses and their kids and things, where there were some pretty severe challenges, quite honestly. And I actually felt, what's the word I want to select here? Concerned, more than concerned for them, because this whole spiritual element they hadn't embraced. And it was more of a materiality thing that was going on, and I could feel their pain. So it's more than just a concern. I could feel their pain actually, in how they live their life. So there's a beautiful story, by the way, that Suzanne shared of this general that she was working with that didn't want to be on this. She's on her documentary on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, we talked about that this hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So which kind of just says this whole thing of we don't, let's stand in who we are. In fact, even have appreciation for people that don't understand it and that really are don't have the awareness of what conscious living is, because it's actually not us that are losing out here.
But we've been there, and that's the thing. And probably Judith and others as well. We know how it feels to live inside the box, to think you're only human, and you want others to feel this. But again, that's their path, and hopefully they'll come to it. But pushing people that way doesn't help. So just be in that being state that Steve talks of, and that is soul awareness. That's the soul that's simply just shining.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Okay, let me get to some other, one other question. Then there's actually an exercise that Suzanne said she could do, a here goes method, which sounds really intriguing. So let me go to one more question, then we'll go to this experiential thing that I think you'll really enjoy. So here's a question from Athea. She says, "Hi Suzanne, thank you so much for this evening and all so this person's in an evening time zone, and all the videos you do. I have lost someone very dear to me this year, and after he died, he sent some beautiful signs. I have also dreamt of him, and I also believe that two of my spirit guides exist. My question is, I'm a bit nervous about learning mediumship. I'm still hung up about what the Bible says about mediumship, etc. Although the other side of my thinking is that God is not about religion. What are your thoughts about this, please?"
This is so simple. What does your heart say about it? When you believe what other people say, you're picking up on their fear. Your heart is pulling you towards this. Your loved one across the veil is already saying, dive in, I'm ready to talk to you. And just follow that heart each step of the way. Is it helpful in healing? You will find it is. And then you'll just be able to say, well, that's other people's beliefs. I would take what the heart says over any words written or spoken anytime.
Yeah, beautiful. The feelings are our gateway to the heart and to ultimate reality. So beautiful. Okay, we'll get to some other questions here too. So Judith and Jay have some questions here. We'll come back to them. Let's go to this experiential exercise that Suzanne shared that she could bring in, which sounds beautiful.
Yes, it's just an abbreviated way of tuning into spirit at any time. But I really wanted to emphasize, Steve, that the courses that I teach show you the foundation to be able to shift to the other realities at will. There's a lot of teaching as to what is actually going on when you make this shift. It really is as simple as setting an intention to change the channel of your state of awareness. And just like that, with a clear intention and the belief that the other realities are right here, we literally just shift. And right now I can tune into my guides just like that. But some people need to really understand how that works, what's going on, and that's what we dive into in the course. Once you understand that, the here goes method, make sure you're aligned and ready to do that in any instant. So let's do it right now. Here is simply a cue to get centered before you go on with the rest of the process. So notice how I'm shifting in my chair. I'm making sure that I'm settled. I visualize a shaft of white light connecting me to the heavens and going all the way down into the earth. I take a nice centering breath to become here, present. So everybody, I hope you're doing this with me. Exhale longer than you inhaled to trigger that relaxation response in the body. And now we go through the 4 steps that GOES stands for in here goes. And G stands for ground yourself. Sitting in this shaft of white light, feel the energy that's flowing down from above go out through the soles of your feet and ground you into the earth. That keeps a steady flow of the life force uninterrupted. It's always there anyway, but once we become aware of it through this grounding process, you're more centered than ever. O stands for open your field with intention. You just become aware of the energy centers within your energy body, and with intention, just open them. It's done through your will, through consciousness. E stands for expand your aura so that you fill all time and space. I like to do this with the breath. Just taking a nice breath and exhale it so you hear it and feel it. And now your awareness is limitless, not just focused on the external physical world, but mingling, merging with all fields everywhere. And the final S in GOES stands for shift. So in this expanded, grounded, open state, we literally just say shift. And having done that, now you can sense any spirits who might be around. Even if you don't sense them, this is a nice expanded state in which to ask any question. So let's take advantage of that. You're in that nice expanded open state. Having made that shift, please ask of whoever has the highest answer for you, what do I need to know now? And you may have heard something in that brief pause there. That certainly would be optimum, but you just asked that question of higher beings in an expanded state with the trust that they are there. So even if you didn't hear an answer just then, that answer will come to you in whatever way you're able to perceive it in the coming days. Maybe you'll hear it, maybe you'll see it written somewhere and it'll just jump right out at you because you asked so clearly. Maybe you'll meet just the right person with the answer. No matter what, that here goes process is an excellent way to get answers to questions like that. So there you go, Steve.
Beautiful. Love it. That's a beautiful exercise. Yeah, thank you for that. And what always comes back to me is just service, being in this loving essence and service. And boy, you want to find true prosperity I actually think we're designed that way in this oneness to just be like a healthy cell in the body of this whole earth and humankind. And where we put ourselves in service, there's this whole boomerang effect thing that's always happening where we're giving ourselves away freely. And then all of these blessings are coming back to us. But what a great exercise, because it guides each of us in our own particular station in life, our own thing. So let me ask you this question, Suzanne. Evidential mediumship, you've brought this up. It's come up in the course of this program. Can you talk about what that means?
Yes, it is when a medium is not satisfied unless they receive information from those across the veil that they couldn't possibly know, and the client can validate it, and it leads to information that they needed and backs up messages from spirit that we might not be able to prove, such as, I'm fine, Mom, I'm doing okay. I was given permission from a reading I did just this morning, Steve, to share a beautiful piece of evidence where a woman's daughter in the spirit world we were communicating with showed me a rainbow and put that rainbow over her sibling's head. I knew claircognizantly she was not talking about sending a rainbow to her brother. I knew this had to do with homosexuality. And the mother said, oh my goodness, her brother just came out to the family and he was worried that he should have come out when his sister was alive so that she would know too. And we just rejoiced and said, well, there you go. She knows. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
And these stories, where there's a person like you that's very effective at this. And of course, you're teaching people to become mediums. And you're saying everybody has this ability. It's like playing the piano. Are you going to take a little time to learn to play this instrument or not, right? Which is the beautiful thing. You do it so well, but you're saying you don't need to be looking to me. Here's some instruction on how to do it yourself, which is what consciousness.
I really want to teach people how to fish, right? So they can catch themselves and talk to their own loved ones. That's the joy of it, that knowing that anybody can do this. You don't have to become dependent on mediums and psychic. It's like giving someone their own genie in a bottle or the key to heaven. It's right here. Until you know that, you feel shut off. I know that from experience, but now experience is what I want to give everyone, the personal experience to know that you can do this too. You are a soul here and now, and that key to heaven is right here within you.
And this whole aspect, of course, everlasting life is implicit in this, that there's no such thing as death. And I know, I haven't ever asked you this question, but I know you probably would say there's not even 0.5% in 100% where you would say there's some possibility that there's a true death and you just go away, right? I mean,
completely doesn't exist. The body certainly ceases functioning and goes away, but death really is a transition to a different state of consciousness, total awareness. Yeah.
Because this is a whole nother where we know with certainty that's true. This whole conscious living thing is what it becomes all about, because we realize there's not something we need to do in this body before it just goes away forever. Instead, the body is kind of in service. What with this short lifespan in the overall, where we consider it in the everlasting life perspective, in this one little short lifetime, what things do I want to do with it that would really be beautiful? That was for me back in the 90s when I made my decision to leave technology. It was that I'm not, the Steve in a body thing that grew up, a son of Linda and Joe, I can let go of that. There's a bigger thing here for me when I consider my everlasting journey. And then, you bring in the richness and fullness of it when what you refer to as this greater reality, which is just the oneness where we understand there's the embodied realm and there's this whole realm, which we could call many different things, a heavenly realm, the afterlife, etc. That's all working together.
We can talk about it on and on and on. These are just words, but the goal of all of my teaching and all the classes that I'm so grateful you're offering is people can have the experience of that greater reality now themselves without having to die first.
Yeah, beautiful. And isn't that nice? Yeah. Who wants to die first to experience them?
Can't stop that. We can't stop that from happening, but we can experience what our loved ones are experiencing right now. And it's I'll tell you, when I first started touching that realm, personally through experience, I had to not put on my eye makeup first thing in the morning because I would cry tears of joy from feeling the love that I had never experienced in normal human waking consciousness, and the mascara would be running down my face. And it doesn't happen every time, but it only has to happen one time to touch that depth of love that is us, that is here for us, that we came here to share. To say, I want some more of that, and it's ours for the taking.
Yes, it is, and then the beauty of what the whole invitation of life was in the first place reveals itself. So, let me get to this question here from Judith. She says, "Do our loved ones feel our grief? Do they have a job on the other side?" So she's kind of bringing in two things here.
Right. They absolutely feel our grief, but they understand it. They don't feel it in a painful way like we do. There's such great understanding. And what they're doing across the veil is whatever their heart wants to do. My most popular video, I think, on YouTube, What Our Loved Ones Are Doing in the Afterlife, goes into great detail on that subject. But it's a much less limited state of being across the veil because we don't have to abide by the rules of the physical reality where we don't have gravity. We can be in more than one place at one time with awareness and be there instantly. So it sounds like a lot of fun.
Fantastic. So, and job on the other side, what would you say about that,
Jobs
Suzanne?
on the other side are all about service. They're all about connection. Many inspire us here on this earth. There are those who are working to help scientists to discover cures for illnesses. There are those who are helping to inspire people addicted to drugs, how to not use them. There are those who meet those who've passed through perhaps suicide and greet them and help them to understand their experiences. All of them have to do with connection and love and service.
Conversations with God, I brought this in earlier, some other material from it. What it says is that after we pass, that we won't care at all about these things that are materiality, a job, a bank account, a luxury house or vacation. That these are not things actually that count at all. And so, and in the afterlife review, where we're actually looking at ourselves and feeling ourselves through other people that were with us. It's all really about how loving we were and in service we were, isn't it?
Indeed. I remember reading where I had no idea what the family dynamics were, but my client said, "Does my mother have a message for us?" And I listened. I said, "Your mother says, if I had known what that money would do to you kids, I would have burned it all before I passed." And then she showed me lawyers and the kids separating and getting angry at each other over mom's estate. And I just thought that was, and it was absolutely accurate. So she knew.
Yeah, boy, that is, thanks for bringing that in. Okay, so here's Jay says, hope you well. Can you tell me, please, if you experience light language healing sessions and your thoughts on it, please? Light language healing sessions.
I'm not familiar with the term, but feeling into it, what I perceive that Jay is saying is that all light carries information and codes to healing. And so I haven't had such a healing session, but I regularly see energy workers to clear out any blocks that are perhaps keeping me from being the clearest possible channel. You don't have to be a medium to benefit from that. And so if somebody's using something that they call light language, as long as the intention is to allow our own light to shine brightly, that would be an excellent tool.
Fantastic. Yes, you share this, I know, in your online teachings too. So you'll hear more about that if you, and I hope you do, go check out Suzanne Giesemann's incredible transformational education programs. They're fantastic. So in fact, let's go review the names again. So the two new ones on the platform, Humanity Stream Plus, are Making the Connection and Your Emerging Soul. And then there's the Personal Mediumship Plus. And then the fourth one is called, Suzanne?
Let Your Spirit Soar, where SOAR is an acronym that takes you through the spiritual path with so many tools that you can just access instantly as needed to live consciously, as you've been talking about, Steve.
So check those out, everybody. Amazing programs. We're grateful for this partnership with Suzanne. She travels the country. Says she's back, I think, through May here where she lives in Hilton Head, South Carolina. That sounds like a beautiful place. So Suzanne, you do this great work. Do you want to leave our audience just with a few more words just about your work and a website where they can follow you?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's my name, SuzanneGiesemann.com. And I would encourage anybody to go to my homepage. We have just come out with a free e-guide that introduces you to the path to healing here and now. It's just a menu, a buffet of all of the resources, many of them free, that you can pick and choose from. And we even have them categorized as, what is your goal? Is it healing? Is it mediumship? Is it understanding who you are and where to begin on this journey? So I hope people will check it out and check out the YouTube videos. It's all about the ripples that we create once we start down this path.
The ripples that create this whole, when we talk about making conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040, it's where each of us is a ripple, where we're through our own life lived, we're that splash in the pond. And then these ripple out where people experience us and our teachings. And so that's our invitation. Boy, let's all be huge ripples in this pool of conscious living, bringing it into our homes and our workplaces, our schools, our hospitals. That's not only a dream and a vision, it's our destiny, right? This is one of the things Suzanne and I've been bringing around here during the hour. We're down this path and we're going straight to a destination. But how do we do it? Through all of our participation. So we hope that during this hour we've shared a few things that maybe might be valuable to you during your own conscious journey. Check out Suzanne's programs. Come back next week. We've got another special guest that you'll enjoy. And Suzanne and Humanity's team have got neat things planned. We do this Global Oneness Summit every year. We had a phenomenal summit this year We've got another one, of course, next year, our 13th, and Suzanne's going to be hosting a Global Oneness Summit panel, and we look forward to doing a lot more with her. We'll be bringing her back to Accelebration too. So Godspeed to you, Suzanne. Thank you for your good work. Thanks for your partnership. Just absolutely love who you are and your many contributions to an awakened world. So let me also just thank you viewers. Thanks for spending an hour with us here on your Friday afternoon, at least for most people, unless you're in Japan, in which case it's Saturday. But and then also thank you to the team. I've got a lot of people around me, my partners and colleagues here in the humanities team. In the studio here is Jim Gray. If we have a camera shot where we pull back, you'll see there's Jim over there with me. So Jim Gray, thank you for making this a seamless program, that everything technically was right on target. Also Nanette Kennedy, Dee Meyer, Karen Gordon, Garth Catterall, so all of Noah, Tim Noah, thanks to everybody that is here behind the scenes supporting this programming every Friday so that we can come to you live. So, hey, a total pleasure being with you, Suzanne. What a gift to be with you. So we'll see you all here again back next week. So peace and blessings, everybody. Happy holidays. And here's to our conscious living. Love.